Good morning. This is Spirit Journey. It's early in the morning right now. It's Sunday morning. My clock says that it's about 5:15 in the morning. I've been awake now for over an hour. When I wake up early in the morning like this, I like to think. Yesterday I did a live stream, something that I didn't talk about. And so like when I wake up in the morning, sometimes I talk out loud about things that have occurred in my prior day. It's just a way of, I guess, getting off what's on your chest. I'm concerned about the state of America and the state of the world. It gets me anxious and sad. I see that the world that I live in is in trouble. I first started thinking about this incident that happened to me yesterday that I didn't mention in the live stream. I was walking my dogs, and there was a man, I presume the father, and a little child walking with them. They're walking hand in hand. The child could have been between the ages of 2 and 3, and it was a little boy. He had a big stick in his hand. And the father was relatively young. They were Europeans. I don't think they were like from the US, but I think they were like just something, again, I don't know definitive, but he looked like a European, a visitor, and just how he was dressed, very, very nice. He was very, very, very tall. The father, slim, dressed very neat, and the child, wearing regular little child's clothes. And as I'm walking past them, the little boy takes his stick and he's trying to poke my dog with it. So I point, I say, hey, your child, watch your child. Your child is trying to hit my dog with the stick. And he just kind of looked and just kept on going. Nothing. I did get angry. And I did use some adjectives. And maybe I shouldn't have said words like that, but I did. And I want to be honest. I said some coarse language to myself, not for the man saying, but I was angry. He kept on going. But it was like, when I looked at him, his face was like he's in a trance or something. And it reminded me of something that happened to me, two incidences. One with another lady who went through a similar thing that I went through. This happened maybe 3 years ago, and it was not too far from where it happened to me, but down the road. And she was an older lady, like in the 60s or 70s. She has an elderly dog and a tiny dog also, about the same size as my dog. And it was a father and son, but they were a little, the son was a little older. This boy could have been maybe 5 years old, 6. And he had something in his hand, like a twig, not near as big as the white kid that had a heavier stick. It was a thick one he had. The little boy had like a little thin twig with leaves. And he was doing that towards the dog as he walked, and the lady flipped out. And the child starts to cry because the lady started yelling. Says, what are you doing? Your kid is trying to poke my dog with the stick. My dog has a heart condition, and you're trying to scare my dog. The lady flipped out on him verbally. But the man, this guy, he could have been from Pakistan or something like that, Southern Asia. But he doesn't say anything, and I'm gathering that maybe he didn't speak English either. So he couldn't really respond or something, I don't know. But that made the lady, so the lady's yelling at the adult, hey, but he's not responding. He's not, oh, I'm sorry, anything. And that made the lady more angry. And then she takes the twig and puts it in his face. And blah, 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 blah. The lady flipped out. Okay? And then I started thinking this morning, I said, all this aggression in today's world, you have people, men, who are running countries, who run the United Nations, and there's no peace. There's no peace in the world. And then I started thinking about a relative of mine, and it was again a little boy. The boy was 4 years old, and the father there, and the child says something to me that was so hostile, violence, and I was shocked. And the father's there and saying absolutely nothing. But later on, he says, oh, I want to teach my kid how to be tough. Oh, really? When I think of that. So I'm thinking about those three incidences. The child with the potty mouth saying they're going to do physical violence upon, a pet. And then those two other children, the man from yesterday with the boy with the big stick, trying to poke my dog with it, and the Asian, that's the white kid, and then the Asian kid with the older lady. It's like some men have this concept. They want tough kids, macho kids. See, it's nothing wrong of teaching your kid confidence, but not recklessness. It's a difference between being a man or being confident and being a bully or someone who doesn't respect life. It's a difference. And it seems like some fathers are teaching their kids how to be aggressive and violent. And that I don't like. And I don't like where the world is going to, where it's headed. Again, you have the UN, and you have all these people there. I look at that and say, wow. And I look at the U.S. government, the people like in the big room where they are, where they congregate in the Capitol. All these elderly men. And all this violence. Even though it's supposed to be a Judeo-Christian based society, but it's filled with violence. And it's filled with sexual perversion. And I learned of this new case of this man from Austria. This case could have happened in 2008 or 2009 in Austria. The man did have a challenging childhood. He had an aggressive mother. He grows up and he becomes a violent man and an aggressive man. He was arrested, get this, for raping his own biological daughter. He had several children at that time. He had a total of 7, I think. But it was his younger daughter who he developed a perversion against. And the mother, I don't know what the mother knew of the girl, but the girl was being raped by her father. She decides that she was either late teens or early 20s. She tells her father she's going to leave home. She's going to move in her own place. And he tricks her. And then he used chloroform to immobilize her. And he made a bunker, an underground bunker. See, he also was in like building, making. He had an engineering background, and he knew that he wanted to. He planned that he was going to keep his daughter, because I think it was for a while that she was starting to rebel against him, and he sensed that she was going to leave him, and so he had this bunker built in his own building, the house he lived in with his wife and kids. And then he used chloroform to knock her out. He tricked her because she was going to leave, and tricks her. He chloroforms her. Chloroform is this chemical that makes you unconscious. Like people pour it on a cloth, and then if you inhale it, you pass out. He uses that on her, throws her in the dungeon, keeps her in there for over 20 years. It could have been around 24 years. Rapes her repeatedly. She gets pregnant. Has his children. And this is her biological father. Does this. One of the children gets sick. It's an infant. It gets sick. He kills the kid and puts the kid in the incinerator. He has other kids with her, and also what he did in his trickery, because now the girl is missing, so he has the girl, forces the girl to write a note that, I'm leaving you and I'm moving to a cult. He shows this to the police and to the mother, and then when the kid now is having babies by him and getting sick, so he puts the baby in a basket at his own doorstep, and a note, I'm in a cult still, I had a baby, take care of the kid. Now he did this several times, because again, now she's having his babies, and they take the kid and raise it as their own kid. And I forget how she gets out. The last kid, I think, it was a boy baby, but for whatever reason, the father liked that kid, was attracted to that kid, and the kid is sick, and it brings her to the doctor. The father brings the kid to the hospital for treatment, and then the authorities want, because again he's passing lies that the kid, the mother, the kidnapped, the girl that's really being kidnapped and raped by her father, they said, well, the mother left the kid, and the authorities, at the hospital said, look, we need to get in contact with her. We need to know what's going on with the kid so we could properly. I'm sorry, there was a pause there. So the father feels forced now to get the girl, and so the girl could tell the authorities what's wrong with the kid. And at some point, the lady fesses up that she was kidnapped, the whole story. There's a trial. He first denies it, and then the girl had to testify. And then at that point, the guilt, and he fesses up. But see, it's this aggression, this possessiveness, and perversion that's rampant in this society. That children are being abused by family members. And it just has to stop. What is making people act sicko like that? So that's also what I started thinking about today. And then into society. And even though I was abused as a child, but nothing like that. But I feel, though, for victims of abuse. And that's why I'm sharing this story. That the world is abusing itself. And then I think about this video I did about a year ago. Yeah, it was about a year ago, or approaching a year. I did this video about blacks who claim Native American ancestry. Now, of course, there are people who have Native American ancestry in their family tree, of course. But you have people like what made that video really stand out. In hindsight, I was surprised that I had gotten as many responses. I did the video, the first one, to wake up the black community. Now again, anyone could embrace any culture. That's your business. But unfortunate, a lot of people didn't take the video how I meant it. I meant the video that here we don't like ourselves, and that we're teaching our children to not like ourselves either. And so we want to live a lie. See, most of us, most people of black ancestry, whether you're from the Caribbean or North America, we're post-plantation people. Post-plantation people. We're still like in a prison world. And we walk around, and some of us are acting out. We're doing things, and I start to wonder, right after slavery, what type of society, what were we like? Were we like how we are today? And my instinct is saying no. Even though so much horrors had happened to us, but there was still, we had some sanity. But now I see, like in North America, but I have to say, my background is Caribbean and not North America. But I was born and raised here, went to its institutions, and lived in a community with people from the post-plantation migration to the Northeast, where I live. So I went to school. The friends of mine, we were neighbors. We did everything. We lived in the same community. So whether you come from the Caribbean, South America, wherever, but we lived in other communities of people from the post-plantation era for people. And but we were still surrounded by the same type of enemy, same type of abuser, and that it's forcing us to live in these close proximity. We live in these urban dwellings, and you notice that it's getting more and more cramped and more in disarray. The schools, there's no control. I went to an elementary school. It's considered the blackest school district in New York City. It's the blackest one. I mean, I'm not talking about complexion-wise, but it's demographics. And it's unlike any other school in New York City. And that's the school I went to, elementary school I went to. And it had violence. Even though it was in a relatively nice area, but like one part of that town is extremely African American and high crime. And then the other half, a black area also, but a little bit more resources, but a lot of crime, but not to the same intensity, but you have it. And that was my environment. And as I get older, I'm meeting more and more black people who want to tell their fellow black person of their Native American ancestry. They never talk about their African ancestry. But again, it is true, and some commenters on that video I did on Blacks Who Claim Native American argued with me, well, prove what part of Africa you're from, and or hostile. But see, even though I would like to know, I did take a DNA test, and then they said, well, you can't trust Whitey. You can't trust what white people say. To a point, yes, but DNA is DNA. And when you take that paternity test, you seem to love knowing who's the father or who isn't, right? So you can't play both sides. You can't play games like that. It's a tool for you to use or not to use. Not just use it when it's a financial gain. Okay? But yes, DNA testing is a tool. It can show certain things. But again, with DNA, you don't inherit all DNA. You could receive one versus another. But it could give you some information about what genetics you do have. And it's what you do have is what really counts. But again, it's history, and people identify with history, even though you may not have a particular marker from that past. But still, you have people, who pass on certain information from generation to generation that's passed down. But now it seems to be a movement with us promoting and telling our children of this heritage that you may not actually have. And I think this researcher, I forget his first name, but his last name is Gates, Professor Gates of Harvard University. And he's being hated upon with some American blacks. And they call him an Uncle Tom because he's an educated black man. Get that, you're an educated black man. And he's has a focus on African American history, and yet you despise him. isn't he equivalent to like a griot from Africa? Whether it's someone who's telling, passing on the heritage of a particular tribe, its oral history, but then you're going to poo-poo on your historian of your African history. So you're crucifying your own again. But either way, with Gates, he had a show up and he did DNA analysis. He would have your DNA sent out. And he did have the DNA analysis of some people, performers, actors, actresses, singers, and have them do a DNA analysis to discover who they are genetically and what history they can find out about that specific family. And very few of them had any. I don't know if any of them on his show. Oh, there was a woman of Puerto Rican and Dominican heritage, and she had maybe 5% Native American. Okay, but all the others that lived in the United States, they didn't have any. And he respectfully listened to him and said, okay, what do you know about your background? It's I think a little such and such Indian and blah blah blah, and nothing. But then I remember meeting a lady growing up. I was in my mid-20s, and she lived in central Harlem. She was a light-skinned, what we call a light-skinned black woman. She lives amongst black people. She has kids with a black man. But yet she says, oh, I wonder why black people don't like me because I'm Native American. And I thought, is this woman, what? I didn't say anything, but well, for one thing, even if she were of Native American ancestry, but you're living amongst people who aren't. And they only know what they see in you, and the fact you're living in a black community, and you're having your black kids, and you're promoting this other culture. But it's like we want to believe things that aren't true. I just said, be true to yourself, whatever you are. Be true to yourself. And if having this knowledge, whether true or false, of being Native American, be the best Native American you could be then. Whatever community you live in, be respectful of that community and serve the community you live in. And that was the point of my doing my video on Blacks Who Claim Native American Challenge. That you have Native Americans, alleged Native American, but live, talk, and act like they're post-plantation black people. And it seems like the people with this identity that they seem hateful of their community they live in. And I don't understand why. Please tell me, any of you who are listening to this, who identify with this Native American, why are you so violent against black people? Why? Why, when someone wants to help you, why do you harm? Ask me that, please. I don't see you harming white people, but you hurt black people. Stop it. That's what I mean. You hate yourself and you hate post-plantation people. We need to come together. So I don't care what you call yourself, but come together in peace and love. to unite peoples. See, the trend is now, North America is bringing in people from all over the world. And these people, see, we're not being taught how to have a central national identity. We could come from many nationalities, but we're living here in this country, United States of America. We need to come together as one nation. We come from many nations, many beliefs, but let's come together as one. But see, that's not the trend now. The trend now is keep your identity where, your origins, and pray against people who are different than you. And so that's what I'm seeing. You have people from other parts of the Americas, and they come to these urban centers, and they latch on who they can latch on, who they can benefit financially. But then I see that, like, the women now are being aggressive and territorial against other women. But look, woman who's listened to this video, yes, you may be the flavor of the month. And yes, men like different flavors. But you have women who rely on men liking them to get money from them so they can feed their kids or send money home to family and relatives. But it's short-lived. Who do you see crime happening to? Women. Women now are just like, even white women. You have even white women are falling into this. That white women now aren't safe with their white male counterpart. You have now a lot of white women dating black men or Hispanic men, and the white men aren't wanting them as much anymore. And so they're at a point that, hey, who's going to support me? So now they're competing with other women of color. And I'm saying, ladies, why do we have to compete with one another? We're all in the same boat. Even though you may be some of you, the flavor of the month to the white man, or even some black and Hispanic men. But there's violence being done against you. Men are leaving you stranded, and you have to do what you need to do to get food on your table. So that's a component that's happening too. So no one is safe. You have the different races, the women. You have Hispanics doing things against black women doing things against Hispanic women, whites are doing things against the Hispanic woman, and vice versa. And we're all fighting each other for a crumb. So we can say, oh, well, I'm in the master's table. And I see this. I saw it when I was in the military. You have some women that they think that because they're the flavor of the month, and they flaunt it, and they try to predate against the other women. And they don't realize that they're in poverty and not far from slavery themselves. At any moment, that man could leave you stranded. They can take some men have the money to pay for a lawyer and take your kids from you. And I've said many times in my videos about this woman, this white woman that I knew in Hawaii. She's from Chicago, a rich white lady from Chicago, and she lost everything in that divorce from that white husband of hers. She lost her children, money, and she became homeless. Hear that, ladies? Some of you do things to your body. Some of you getting these butt implants, breast implants, and you think you're going to keep a man. They had this one lady I listened to. Turned out she was a rap singer. She started out as a stripper. She lost her job because she would come to work late. And then this other person on the job said, hey, you could maybe get a job across the street at this stripper club. I know the manager. So she goes there with the person, and she gets the job there. And she feels that, she worked overtime to save money, not for her to go to school or to learn a skill or start a business of her own, but she used that money so she can get breast implants, so she can jiggle, so the men will pay more money, because it seems like the bigger the breast or the bigger the backside, the more money the men want to tip you. So this lady had a very coarse mouth. She was a real street. I never saw this type of person on YouTube before. Not to that intensity. And I think, wow. So I felt she was enslaving herself to stay in this stripper business. And then she wants to branch out into becoming a rap singer. And the men had that same perverted mentality like the people in those strip joints, and was like, she wanted to get in these videos, she said, music videos, dancing and everything. And she was angry that she said, I'm a good dancer. And the guy said, well, so-and-so has bigger you-know-what than you. So she goes to another doctor in Queens, she said, to get butt implants. Okay? I said, wow. So she's entrapping herself to stay in this. So she can get dance parts in the videos. It's like, woman, wake up. She was from the Caribbean. She was a Caribbean background. And I said, wow. She's a slave and she doesn't even know it. Yeah, she's making money, but she's keeping herself trapped in this environment. And this music industry, it seems like it's another form of slavery, of oppressing yourself to say bad words. Bad words. Let's say bad words. And you're creating an environment of shackles and bars that is entrapping you to stay in that environment. It's not a free environment. It's not freedom. Because you're trapping yourself in this mindset of sex and violence. And these videos, dance clubs, is just further imprisoning you and other women. So you become objectified and just rely on some man throwing money at your feet or whatever way they throw that money at you. It's not freedom. It's not freedom at all. So I'm saying this because It's a world of women are teaching their daughters or the women that this is what you do, and don't do it. It's your demise. When men see this, they become violent. It's triggering something in their mind to abuse women, to abuse their daughters, because it's objectifying you. Cut it out, ladies. We need to come together as women. Don't think because, they want you to see race. Oh, I'm a Hispanic, or I'm an African American, or I'm a white lady, or whatever, how you want to call yourself. But the outcome is still the same. In the end, you get what a man gives you. Look in the government. Who controls it? Look at them. Do you see them shaking their behinds in these clubs? Selling them stuff? Well, yeah. Well, we do know now with the pedogate that they're taking children, male children too, and doing horrific things with them. And you have those, they're using these young teenage boys also for prostitution in the nation's capital. So yeah, there are men that are objectifying themselves too, but mostly women. Globally. I'm talking about globally. We have to stop this. We have to get our sanity back. I'm afraid about the world that we live in. These people, these men, are just doing things, polluting our food, water. We put things in the sky to kill us. Why? Why are we doing this to each other? Why? I'm afraid that for some reason, why we're doing these things to our bodies. Some people may even suggest that, hey, maybe we're making the atmosphere this toxic because some people believe in extraterrestrials, and that them being made toxic because that's the type of environment that they live in, that they like. This world, we're not creating it for ourselves. We're creating a world for somebody else. I think the slavery in the Americas was really about obtaining resources for someone else. And the resources today is again for someone else. And they're relying on you to destroy yourself. So you're not looking at the correct hand of oppression. We're oppressed. And in America, we're oppressed and we don't even know it. And that's also what I wanted to talk about. Like I mentioned, I think I mentioned earlier, that in North America, most of the land were farms, farming communities, and the cities were in coastal areas, coastal concentrations for export, import. But the heart of the nation were farmlands, farmers. And most white people back then, in the turn of the century, were farmers, not urban dwellers. But now the triangle, the pyramid reverted. the base of the pyramid were farmers, but now it's reverse. Urban dwellers on the bottom now. It's switched. And this is by design. And so this video is also for white people to listen to also. If you get this far, I hope you get this far in this video, because it is important information. That now the next phase is the white man and his institution, his communities. See, now, like Europe, you have an influx of people from all over the world, and they're not being taught to assimilate. They're being taught to keep their identity, keep their language, keep the culture. So now when you go to the doctor, you're finding people who don't look like you, European, American. You find people from different races, different cultures than yours. They may not want to wash their hands when they service you. They may have a different mindset in how to treat you, or even how they treat other people of color. They mistreat you many times. They can't relate to you. You're becoming a stranger in your own country. That's right. They're not your culture anymore. And since there's no unity, the nation, what's to keep the nation? Every nation should have a focal point of national identity. What's the glue that's gonna keep the nation together? There's no glue now. It's all free for all. It's all free for all. And there's no allegiance. And so everybody's on a rampage. They don't care about you anymore because you're not their own. And they're taking white and black America. Yes. And they're taking over. They may not be really represented in the government per se, but the social environment. And that's how the attack is going to be. The social environment. And it's going to crumble. So it's nothing to even govern it. It's all just going to go and blow in the wind. And that's what I'm concerned about. It's not a perfect nation, but I live here. And I don't want to see my nation that I was born and raised in to blow in the wind. It's happening. And I'm afraid. You have all this thing going on. No allegiance. A classroom where no learning is occurring. It's like a jail. It's a jail here. There's no education. No real education. And so the next generation, what are they gonna teach their kids? Everything's becoming computerized. So now you don't have to educate. You just get a few people who know how to do something. Everything's going to be all automated. You don't go to a cashier anymore. You don't need them. You just get your device, your smartphone, your iPad, your computer, order everything online. So it's dehumanizing. So yeah, you have people now who are in these industries, these food industries. The cashiers. Who are the cashiers in your community? Who does all the labor work? These new immigrants. But now, in the near future, their job is being phased out. So what are they going to do? It's being phased out. It's going to be some real violence. Real violence is going to be happening in your community because their job is being phased out. You're going to have machines doing it. And get this, as I mentioned in yesterday's live stream, the cyborg, the part human, part machine, they're being used now. They're being implemented. The AI, the artificial intelligence, they're going to be the cashiers. They might get the cashier, like remember the what do you call it? The artificial intelligence called Sophia, the female robot in Saudi Arabia that's going to get citizenship. Yeah, there's also a Michael AI. I haven't seen that one. They just mentioned the name. I just found that out. Michael and Sophia. Isn't that occult terms? Yeah, they're going to implement this AI. So now you want to see a lady with big boobs? Yeah, they're going to get Sophia robot AI. She's going to give you food. Be your new cashier. So see, ladies, see, you think you're important now, because now you can go get these cheap implants in your boobs or your backside, and you think you're all that, but you're being phased out, and you don't realize it. Your enemy is not another lady. These AIs are going to take over. You could even build an AI. These men can have sex with it. Isn't that disgusting? They don't need you anymore. They get the rocks off of this AI that would tell them what they want to hear, do anything what they're told to do. A robot. That's what our mind is turning into, like no humanity. Yet we women are fighting each other to keep a guy, to keep some guy who's messing around with their own daughter, who is messing around with the neighbors, and God, who knows, maybe messing around with their own dog. God help us. God help us. We're in trouble. The nation is falling apart. And this new technology is being implemented in stages. And here we're fighting ourselves. And the real enemies, these new social scientists who are there, who aren't your friend. And you're letting them put these vaccines in your children, putting poison in your food, and then these ladies are fighting each other. I used to do volunteer work at a WIC center. Man, these women, my God, ladies, why are you getting yourself in these situations? Why even pair up with a man that can't provide for you? Ladies, get with it. Get with it. You just strain out a penny. You're not keeping these men. And you rely on these services, the WIC, the welfare. That's not life. It's not life. Yeah, they weren't kidding. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus. We're being used to play against each other. And it's a shame. And I'm sure there's a history behind the human male and human female. Yes. Yeah, there was a war in heaven. There was a war in heaven. And this war blew up a planet. And this extraterrestrial life, there's different planetary things. That's what I'm being told now. We're being lied about our history. And I know there's a history between the man and the woman. We weren't like this. We weren't like this at all. And we're being controlled. We're being controlled by outside forces. I don't know exactly how it started. It's really like a prison planet. And we're here for the whim of other people. And I think the current people in government, that they have a genetic link with these captors. That we were captured. And so we have that bloodline. I think David Icke is correct. You have a bloodline of people who are in key positions and they control. And then now they're changing the dynamics of it, of control. Yeah, they're going to put you in a new slavery and you don't even know it. So people keep thinking of the slavery of the 1500s and on, but this is modern day slavery. You don't have the chains around your neck, but you have a different type of chain, and it's controlling us. Media is controlling us. It's brainwashing you, so they don't need the chains. It's controlling how you think. It's making you violent, and then it's throwing you in jail, and then from jail, slave. They can use your labor and not pay you. We have to wise up. We have to wise up. They're trying to provoke. You have these kids like the guy, and this little boy poking people, maybe trying to cause a fight. Who knows? It's all like a matrix, and the matrix will add in like a pebble in your shoe. Yeah, what happened to me yesterday was like a pebble in the shoe. It's to upset you, to ruffle your feathers, to get you fighting. I really pray to keep the sanity, to keep calm, because it's a world out there that's really trying to get you ruffled and instigate you. Don't, please, and I say this to myself, don't fall into it. Ladies, come together. Address issues to take care of your children together. Men, teach your children. Be there for your children. Teach them discipline about not to harm nature and its wildlife. You're teaching your children not to respect life. Respect life. And all these things that I'm saying in this long video, you need to respect life. Respect your body. Respect your little pets and animal kingdom. Plants. Please come together, man and woman, and love one another from the heart. It's hard. It's hard to love each other. It's hard. I get temptation. I get angry sometimes. But we have to do it. We have to be reminded You're just being used to cause this violence. Stop it. Stop it now. Meditate. Take care of your body, your mind. Be good to yourself. Because you're not going to have a planet left. You're not going to have a planet left to live in. So this is really going out to the world. Anybody who's brave enough to listen to this video, please take it to heart. I'm not trying to attack you and try to tell you what identity to have. Just have a sound identity. Be of sound mind. It's an illusion out there. Illusion of lies to get you to do dangerous things. Please come together as a planet, as one under this planet of harmony. Please pass this video on. If anything you can get out of it, please be kind to each other and stop the madness. So take care and be in peace. Bye-bye, guys, and thank you for listening.